Hey, it's Steve with Raybuck Auto Body Parts, and I'm going to talk about the truck you see behind me. This is our newest project, 1973 Ford F350 Super Camper Special. So I'm going to walk around it and we'll look inside and underneath and all around, and I'll explain a little bit at least about what I know about this truck. I didn't really know a whole lot about the Super Camper Specials. I had heard about Camper Specials, but not the Super Camper Special until I found this one. Now this is an East Coast truck. We're here in Pennsylvania, so this I believe was here for most of its life. It was on a farm for a while, and they were actually going to scrap this thing. A guy had picked it up, and I was talking to him, and I ended up buying the whole thing off of him before they parted it out, which is a shame. Now if you were West Coast, you'd probably think, oh my goodness, like once you see the inside, you'll know what I'm talking about. But on East Coast, actually this is still a pretty solid truck, and it's a running truck, and it's all there. All the trim's there, all the interior's there, just needs to be freshened up. So we're gonna bring this thing back to life, but for right now, I'm gonna walk you around it and we're gonna talk about it and show you what we have going on. And then after this, we'll get it in the garage and start taking it apart. So one of the first things you'll notice about this truck, which is something I thought looked a little bit unusual, but didn't really pay attention to it, is the wheelbase. These trucks, the Super Camper Specials and the Camper Specials, have 140-inch wheelbase. So what Ford did was they actually kicked the rear wheel opening back a few inches to give it a little bit better stability and to help with the payload on it. So this truck actually is meant, or could fit, up to a 12-foot camper in the back. So literally you could put a 12-foot camper, and I think Ford had a special one that they sold that would fit in here and stick out like another 4 feet, because that's an 8-foot bed. And one of the options that they had, this truck doesn't seem to have it, or else someone changed it. This rear bumper actually had two channels, and it could slide out to actually support the base of that overhang of the camper. But it's really, really interesting. So you'll notice, again, it's got a 140-inch wheelbase, have this opening here that you could see. The regular Camper Special had a small door right here that you would open up, and it was like a storage compartment. This one is a large door, and there's a spare tire behind that. So that was something a little bit different. They made it a little bit easier to get to the spare tire. And if you'll notice inside the bed, they actually did some special tooling to make that inner wheelhouse or wheel well bigger so that it fits that spare tire. So that's something very unique to these trucks. If you could barely see, there's a plug up there that would plug into the camper to get the electrical into it. Also, another thing they had to do when they moved that up there, one of the reasons why they had to move the tire up there, is this has dual tanks. So you got a tank in the back, which is located literally right where your spare tire would be, and then they have what they call the auxiliary tank, which is in the front. The auxiliary tank, I'd have to double check. I'm pretty sure it is a 40 or a 44 gallon tank, and the main tank, which is the one in the back, is around a 26 or 30 gallon. This thing holds somewhere around 70 gallons of fuel total. It's crazy. Both tanks still work, and there's an auxiliary switch up on the floor on the driver's side up in here. I'll show you in a minute. You could switch between the tanks. But again, here's a walk around of the truck. You can see it still has all of its trim. One thing that someone did is, for whatever reason, they cut these bumpers and put hinges on them. So the back of the bumper actually will spin out, and I'm not sure why they did that. That was not a factory option, so that's something we're going to clean up and we're going to change. They got 8-lug wheels. This has a Dana 70 rear end in it with, I think, 410 gears. It has a 390 2-barrel. I think the stock or the standard motor on this was a 360. This one was upgraded a little bit. It's got a 390 in it. Let's see if I can get this open. So there's the engine compartment. Again, it's pretty rough right now. Got a little bit of crust, a couple little holes. The underside of the hood is okay. I mean, it's got holes on this side. Again, for what we're gonna do with it, it's just gonna be a driver. We're gonna make it kind of a patina driver. But it's fine. Runs, got power, has power steering, power brakes, no air conditioning on this particular one. We'll take a look at the inside. Again, for an original truck, it's not too bad. Again, for an East Coast truck that's been sitting outside on a barn, I'll take it. Door panels are in decent shape. Lower panels, a little bit loose, we'll fix that up. original seat, which we're going to recover this. It's actually not in bad shape, but you can see it's got some tears here. So we're going to recover this thing. Steering wheel's cracked. Dashboard is way cracked from getting baked. We have an original dash that we're going to put in here. It's black. This was like the brownish bronze color. When I bought the truck, the guy actually had an original black dash, so we're going to put that in here. I'm going to replace the windshield because it is very fogged around the edges and all the weather stripping. Headliner's going to stay. That looks pretty decent. And then we're going to do the flooring. Now, brace yourselves, West Coast people, because this is what East Coast trucks look like. There you go. So you can see my foot underneath. It's almost like a Flintstone car. This one, oh, it's really bad. You could tell the weather stripping around the windshield shrunk, and water was definitely coming down and puddling on the driver's side, because the passenger side does not look like this, and just rots these floors out. So that's fine. We're going to replace all of this. We're going to take all this out, replace the floors, floor sections in here, and then put new carpeting in. There's the original mirrors. And we got the dash. We're going to just clean that up a little bit. And then in the bed, someone put a big steel plate in here, and when we first got it not that long ago, there was this piece of plywood that actually came all the way up here and it was loose. I just grabbed it and literally it just cracked right here. So you can see the bed floors underneath of it. It's got some rust, and you can see it's got rust here. I looked underneath. There is a big hole in the back section of the bed here. You can see it rotted out at some point. It's a shame that they put wood in there, because obviously the wood is going to hold the moisture and it's going to make it rot even more. So we're going to take this steel plate out. We're going to take the wood out and then just put the plate back in. Now, we'll show you in one of the videos that's coming up, we do sell replacement beds for this, or the replacement bed floor. So you can literally, if you could see this seam right here, and there are some bolts on all the way around it and a couple tack welds, I think. You could take that out. You could take this whole center section of the bed out. The one that we sell comes with the cross sills and everything, and you could put a brand new one in here. So at some point we might do that, but for the down and dirty project we're doing here, we're just taking this out, getting rid of that wood, putting that steel plate back in it, and then this will be fine. We got a little bit of work to do on the cab corners, a little bit of work down here on the bottom of the doors. You can see it's all rotted here. We sell replacement panels for all that. We're probably going to just epoxy a lot of this stuff in. I haven't worked with it yet, but I know a lot of shops do that. It's been pretty popular for a long time, so we're going to give it a shot and see how that works. Here you can see the auxiliary, or the switch for the auxiliary in the main tanks. That's where you flick it. There's another switch up on the dash where you can switch the gauge. So this one up here switches the gauge in the dash. This one does the actual fuel lines down here. We're going to update the wheels on it. This has the original 16.5-inch wheels, which you can still get tires for it, but our concern was if we were out somewhere and got a flat, then we would have a very hard time. If we couldn't just repair the flat, we'd have a hard time finding a tire for it. So we're going to replace these with 16-inch wheels. Same bolt pattern, same back spacing and everything, and then get 16-inch tires to go on there. Does have all the original hubcaps, and it has the original trim. I'll see if it looks what it looks like on the other side, but there's the 350, and it does say Super Camper Special. So you'll notice on the, here you go, you can see it here probably. There's the Super Camper Special. The 250 would have just said Camper Special on it, not the Super Camper Special. The other thing that makes it a little bit interesting or unique with the Super Camper Special is this is actually a 1-ton. So it sits on a huge C-frame. I think it's like an 8-inch frame, but it's really a 1-ton chassis. So this is a really, really beefy truck. Oh, and the last thing I forgot to talk about here was the front suspension. It's got this twin I-beam suspension, which Ford says is supposed to make it ride a lot smoother. If you look at some of their old literature, I'll see if I can post it maybe here. It talks about the suspension, and it talks about the extra cushiony seat and how your wife will enjoy driving in this or riding in this, which is pretty appropriate, I guess, for that point in time, or that back in the 70s. So Yeah, really interesting truck all the way around. Like I said, something a little bit different you don't see too often. We're looking forward to getting this in the garage. I think in a week or two we should have most of this stuff knocked out, since we have all the panels and it's a pretty solid truck to begin with. At least be able to get this thing back on the road. It does start up right now, and the brakes are a little soft, so we're going to go over those, and then we'll clean it up a little bit. And like I said, once we get all the panels and everything in and get the flooring in, we're going to get this thing out and see what it's like. So look forward to the next video where we actually have it in the garage, and we're going to show you the cutting of everything out, stripping everything out of it, and replacing it. So thanks again for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. We appreciate it. And again, look out for that next video. Thanks.